Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. I have mentioned this a few times in my live streams, but the point of this video is for me to go into a little bit more detail on how my actual vision book has helped me grow my rental portfolio. I was able to make work optional in less than 10 years. I started as a single parent with 3 kids and found out about a lot of bad debt in my name that I didn't know existed until the divorce. So I wasn't in the best position to start investing. But still, reaching financial freedom took less than 10 years. If that sounds like information that you would like to learn, subscribe. Or if you want to get questions answered in real time, feel free to come to my live streams. I do them Tuesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Pacific, and the live streams usually go until the questions stop. A lot of people talk about setting goals or keeping pictures in their wallets of something they want to do. Some people talk about having a vision board, like an actual whiteboard where they put images on there of things that they want, the car they want, the vacation they want to take. Some investors will actually put up pictures of the rentals they want to own or the number of rentals they want to own. I wanted the motivation that comes from having a vision board, but I actually travel a lot, so it really doesn't make a lot of sense to carry a whiteboard around with me. So instead, I decided to go for a vision book. All of the information from my investing portfolio goes in this book. Each property gets 10 pages. All of the information on my rental business is in this book. Each property gets 10 pages. The first page is a picture of the property, like a scrapbook. Then the next pages are dedicated to the information I might need someday. The purchase date, who the mortgage was closed with, and who it was sold to. This will include the loan numbers, the insurance company and dates the policies were started, and any price changes. Some of the properties have a sketch diagram with the layout of the units, so I can remember which tenants are in what unit. I include the page of the book that comes from the locks I installed. This will have the programming codes and current codes for entry. This way, if I'm in Thailand and I need a handyman to have access, I can let them in. I've actually had people ask me, do you think it's safe for your handyman to have a code to your rental property? And if your handyman can be stopped by a door, you need a new handyman. I also change codes when I need to. If I use a handyman that stops working for me, I'll change the codes. If I have a contractor do a project, I'll change the codes. When I have a tenant flip, I'll change the codes. I record tenant names, the dates they moved in, when the leases were renegotiated, what the current rents are. This actually gives me a visual record of what has happened with the rents on a property over the years. I keep dates for when repairs or upgrades were done, when appliances were replaced, or each time a handyman needs to go to the property. All of the information that I want in one place. Even if I'm traveling, all of my information for my entire business is in one spot. The idea is this book keeps all of the data that I might want in one spot, which technically could probably fit on a thumb drive. But it's a lot easier to ask somebody when I'm traveling to go to my desk and grab the book, look up the vehicle duplex, and tell me what the insurance policy number is. There are a couple of reasons why I chose to go with a book. It's a great conversation starter. Just mentioning to people that I have a real estate grimoire gets them to listen. And second, remember, it's kind of like a vision board. The goal of a vision board is to motivate you, and I wanted that motivation. Each property gets 10 pages, and there are a lot of 10 pages in here. I want to fill the space. It's incredibly simple. We can make this as complex or as simple as you want to. With 16 rental units, I self-manage, and this is basically what the layout of my business structure looks like. 16 rental units, 1 checking account, 1 saving account, 1 credit card that I pay off daily and just use for cash back, 1 Excel spreadsheet with a tab for income and a tab for expenses. I send the spreadsheet off to the CPA and I sleep like a baby. This doesn't have to be complicated. So yes, I could use an online program like Stessa or Hemlane and track all my properties online. But if I want to stop using that platform, or if they initiate a charge that I'm not comfortable with, all of my data is on there and has to be taken off. This is in my hands, and it's easy to duplicate because it's just 10 pages per property. And yes, when I shared this information, I did cover some things because some of my tenants watch my content, and they might not need to know what their neighbors are paying for rent. I hope this breakdown helps. We all have different methods for retaining information. For some people, we're audible learners. Some people like to watch a video. Some people need to write things down, and some people need to input data with a keyboard. One of the tools that we use at the commercial driver school, where I teach people how to drive trucks, is to use a memory tool that creates long-term memories. We all have a different way of making long-term memories. If you're old enough to remember a time when we used to dial phone numbers and you couldn't just tell your phone who to call, most people remembered phone numbers by putting their hand in the air and dialing an imaginary phone to think of where the digits were. So our students will write flashcards. And yes, studying the flashcards probably help, but the act of writing the flashcard probably creates just as much long-term memory as repeating them over and over and over. So when I put information in the book and I see how the words looked on the paper and what the numbers were, it's a lot easier for me to retain the information, or at least know exactly where to go to find what I'm looking for. If you would like a book like this to help you grow your portfolio, there is a link in the description below, or if you'd like to give it as a gift. Remember, the takeaway is you can make this as complex or as simple as you want to. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to share how I record my dating experiences. In my dating book, I don't think these pictures can be put on YouTube. Someday I'm going to make a video about my dating book.
But not today.
Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
A quick tutorial. I've mentioned this a few times in my live streams, but here I'm actually going to demonstrate how to pick a lock. This kit is available on Amazon, and if you'll notice, there are several different types of tools because there are several different types of locks. In the movies, we often see somebody picking a lock with one tool, and that's not actually how it works. In order to do this, you need one tool that's generally flat and applies a gentle, rotating pressure. If you apply too much pressure, you simply bind up the lock and moving the cylinders doesn't do anything. There are several different types of locks with varying degrees of difficulty. I will start with a master lock. It's one of the easiest with only 7 cylinders, and generally only one of the cylinders is stationary and doesn't get depressed. I wish I could say I learned this skill because I was becoming a landlord and I knew that one day I might need to get into one of my properties, but actually I use coated locks, and since I have 2 exterior coated locks, I've never had both batteries die at the same time, so I've never needed to use this skill. I actually learned this skill because I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and I wanted to know what my characters were actually doing. So if you'd like to also see a quick tutorial on how to pick pockets, let me know in the comments below.